in my experience, what worked for me was 12-step programs. And I absolutely would like to add other elements into that, which is therapy on a regular basis, as well as trauma work. Now that I've uncovered that there really was trauma in my background, which has an effect on your neurochemistry. And then falling in love and sexual arousal has a certain impact and fulfills a certain need chemically. But my experience and my understanding is that this particular addiction can be healed. And that's what's really cool and exciting about it, from what I know, that the brain wasn't fed the way it needed to be because of the initial attachment disorder and lack of bonding way back in the beginning. But that there's a chance to like reroute and dig new convolutions through healthy, intimate relationships. One way that I found was fabulous for creating those is in this alienated culture that we have. 12-step programs are kind of fascinating. They're not for everybody. And they're flawed because people are in them. And they're run like a pure democracy, so it's rotating leadership and all that kind of stuff. But if you have enough presence of mind and you're vigilant, there's an extraordinary experience that's just, it's a community that I don't think we achieve in other ways, or ways that would appeal to someone who has my background and other people I know. So there's a way that you can forge bonds with other people who are struggling with the same kinds of things that you are, that has a healing effect. It's community, but it's also about values that it seems like have gone out the window in a lot of other ways, and coming in an organic way through the group. Goes back to your assertion that there's a self-absorption in both the love and sex addiction manifested in men and women, online with porn, dating sites, whatever, and in the real world. One of the basic tenets of 12-step programs is all about being of service for other people, like getting outside yourself and being useful. Because, I mean, my God, one example of how I was so obsessive and wasted so much time and energy and vitality, I was given my first major newspaper assignment. It was totally exciting for the LA Times. And I felt like I just didn't have enough time to write it. And yet at that same period of time, I was very obsessed with this guy who it wasn't working, and I wasn't letting go. I was like pit bull clamped onto it, jaws tight. And at one 48-hour period, I wrote him 64 emails. Okay, but I did not have time, I thought, to write this article. And in fact, it took me a year to write it, and I didn't write it until I had broken up with this guy. So there's this complete lack of perception and distortion and wasted energy that's focused on other things. And 12-step groups, one of the things that it's provided for me is I didn't see it growing up. Everyone was out of their mind, like spinning around, helping other people. You know, that's actually a way of becoming more human. And this goes back to all the internet stuff too, where we're losing touch with what it means to be human, which is more about giving. I know this is starting to sound like hokey kind of stuff, but truly, we're in such a take. We're trained to be consumers. We're spending all this time online, and there's an obsessive thing. There's an ADD kind of thing. You know, there's more, fast, whatever, and not really connecting with anybody. And what else, are we going to take with us to the grave, Listen, I may not be able to tell you off the cuff, but I guarantee you I have all the damn emails, documentation, because that's one of the things I do. As I clutter, I keep, one of the lines in the book is that sometimes the only evidence of having been loved is a piece of paper. And for me, because I moved around so much, there was so much chaos, I tended to carry things around. I was very angry at this friend, but it stuck in my head. Why? I don't know. At a certain point, you just get worn down. There was a desperation that came up because of the ticking clock, which I know a lot of people can identify with. I just, said, David Byrne, how did I get here? Why is this my life? Wait a second. I never had a problem meeting people. I don't understand what happened. So it nagged at me. And the computer thing was like, I had never had, hey, this was not one of the ex-con thug boyfriends. This was like someone who seemed not as ostensibly crazy. And I thought, whoa, you really, just try a meeting where people, and I hadn't wanted to go back to the male-female point of view, to any meeting that had any mention of sex, because I thought it was going to be all guys talking about banging hookers. And I'm like, I don't really want to hear about that. Okay? I don't feel like that's what I have. But honestly, I walked into those rooms and I was desperate enough, and enough things had converged. I walked in those rooms and I could not deny, after having gone since 1989 to meetings for people who grew up with alcoholics or da-da-da. So I had a familiarity, and I had gotten a lot of healing and growth. I had never thought of myself as the addict. But I walked into those rooms and I could not deny that I was home. I heard those people share, and they may have had they might have had porn, they might have had just fantasy where they never even had any interactions with men too, which was also heartbreaking. Whatever, everyone's got their own. But boy, did I know. The weird thing was, I had a crush on someone at the time, and I just thought, oh, we're meant to be together, we're meant to be together. I still was in that place, okay? This is bizarre, because this is about the brain dis-ease, unease. After I went to that damn meeting, I went back out and I saw that guy again, and I could literally see a force field of energy between us. What a shame. I was ruined, because I had the key to opening the door perception for me was, I am a fucking addict. When I went home that night, that's what I wrote in my journal. And I miss those thrills, but I can't go back because the perception has changed. I'm still way in, a work in progress, but that's pretty extraordinary.